Alert. Why silver must hit triple digits in 2026. They wanted you to believe silver is just another gamble. They wanted you to see a scary red candle and hit the sell button. They wanted your metal back cheap. If you sold yesterday, you did what the insiders planned. They push fear first, then they buy later. That is how the trap works. But the real story is not on your price chart. The real story is hidden in supply chains and rule changes. And that story is screaming right now. China did not wake up one day and get interested in silver. China treated silver like a war resource. And wars are won before the public even notices. The mainstream media talks about stocks and elections. They almost never talk about the metal that powers the real world. Silver runs solar panels, electronics, and defense gear. So when silver starts moving like this, you should not ask, what is the RSI? You should ask, who is starving and who is stocking up? Because that is where the truth lives. The official story says silver is volatile because traders are emotional. They blame social media, hype, and speculators. They say nothing is broken. But real markets do one simple thing. They move metal from sellers to buyers. When the metal stops moving freely, the price becomes a mask, and right now we are seeing a mask. China put a gate in front of silver exports using licensing rules that took effect on January 1st, 2026. That is not normal behavior for a country that feels safe. When a government controls who can sell, it can control who can buy. That is power. And power is what this market is really about. This is why you see whispers about premiums. When people are paying way above spot just to get real bars, it means paper is not enough. It means someone needs delivery now. So no, this is not just a trade. This is a controlled choke point, and choke points create squeezes. For years, the fight was not on comics. The fight was upstream at the mines and refineries. That is where the real control lives. The video claims China spent years locking up raw silver from Latin America using private offtake deals. If that is true, it means metal can disappear from public view. And if it is invisible, the public cannot price it. Now the flow is shifting, and that is the key. Reports and commentary say U.S. refiners started receiving unusually large volumes of silver concentrate from Latin America. The point is simple. Somebody flipped the pipeline. And when refineries get overwhelmed, that is a pressure signal. It means demand for processing is real. It also means bottlenecks can form fast. This is why the spot price can lie to you. Metal can be tight, even if paper looks calm. And the elites love that gap because it keeps you asleep. Here is the ugly truth. The price you see is often a paper price, not a physical price. And paper is easy to flood. They can dump paper to smash the chart. They can trigger stop losses. They can make you feel stupid for holding. But while you panic, they accumulate. Big players can use custody, vault networks, and private deals that you never see. That is why the public always feels late. You also see claims that big banks have played games in silver before. People point to past manipulation fines and suspicious timing. And whether every rumor is true or not, the pattern is always the same. The pattern is shake the tree, collect the fruit. The people get fear. The insiders get metal. So when you hear silver is crashing, you should ask one question. Who is selling real bars and who is demanding delivery? That is the only scoreboard that matters. Most normal buyers hedge. Hedging is like buying a seatbelt for price moves. It means you care about price risk. But the video claims commercial hedging is fading. That means some big buyers do not want protection. They want possession. Think about that. If you buy without a hedge, you're saying, I don't care if it costs more. You are saying, I need the metal. That is not how a normal factory thinks. That is how a nation state thinks. That is how a military supply planner thinks. This is why the war language matters. Silver is not just jewelry and coins. Silver is also infrastructure, energy, and defense. And when governments start treating a metal like a strategic asset, the game changes. The paper market becomes the distraction. The physical market becomes the battlefield. China's move is not just news. It is a signal of stress. A calm country does not build gates. Reuters reported China named companies allowed to export silver for 2026 to 2027. That is not a free market system. That is a permission system. And MarketWatch described the policy as an export licensing regime taking effect January 1st. When a gatekeeper stands between metal and the world, supply becomes political. And political supply can vanish overnight. So the question is not, will silver go up tomorrow? The question is, who gets cut off next? Because cutoffs create panic buying, and panic buying is gasoline on a squeeze. Premiums appear first, then shortages. Then the public realizes the chart was fake comfort. Now look at the US side. The US has a tool called Section 232. It is a legal lever tied to national security and imports. The White House published a proclamation about adjusting imports of processed critical minerals and derivative products into the United States. It explicitly points to Section 232 authority as the basis for action. That means trade can become a weapon fast. This matters because silver is not just metal. Silver is a part of technology supply chains. And technology is national security now. So if the US decides silver supply is strategic, it can act. It can pressure supply routes, it can favor allies, it can punish rivals. This is why the video's resource war idea hits so hard. The fight is not only about price, the fight is about control. And when two superpowers fight over control, retail investors get whiplash. That whiplash is the perfect cover for accumulation. That is why the elites love chaos. A squeeze needs two things. It needs tight physical supply, and it needs trapped demand that cannot wait. If China really is losing raw supply access, it must bid higher for finished silver. If buyers are paying large premiums, it means urgency is rising, and urgency breaks paper games. At the same time, U.S. refiners being overwhelmed is a signal. It suggests more concentrate is being pulled into U.S. processing. That looks like a pipeline grab, not a free trade market. Now combine that with export gates and national security tools. That is a recipe for sudden shortages, and sudden shortages are how silver reprices. They will try to shake you out again before it happens. They will use headlines, dumps, and expert fear. But the physical market does not care about their opinions. The physical market only cares about one thing. Do you have the metal, or do you have a promise? And when promises fail, the squeeze does not ask permission. Now let's talk targets, in plain English. In a normal world, silver moves slowly, but this is not a normal world. Base case is simple. If export control tightens flow and premiums stay elevated, silver can push back toward triple digits in 2026. The exact path will be violent because they will fight you every step. Squeeze case is the nightmare for shorts. If physical demand rushes in while supply is gated and refining bottlenecks hit, the price can spike far above fair value. That is when the public screams manipulation, but it is really just scarcity. So what do you do? First, stop chasing every candle like it is a lottery ticket. Second, stop letting the elites rent space in your head with fear. Third, track the signals that matter. Watch export policy tightening, watch premiums versus spot, and watch refining strain. And if those get worse together, the squeeze risk grows. You do not need to time it perfectly. You need to survive it, because the biggest money is not made in comfort. It is made when the crowd is terrified and wrong. This video is for education only and is not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor, and I do not know your personal situation. Always do your own research before you buy or sell anything. If you want the real story behind the headlines, subscribe to the Bullion Ledger right now. They move the metal in silence, then they sell you the narrative later. And we are here to see the move before the trap closes.